What is up, y'all, and welcome back to the Grind Time Shop for another episode of the Together We Print podcast. Today we got Season 5, Episode 3. Gonna be a crazy episode. This week's been wild, and I think I've officially deemed it Quote Week.
Oh, that's for sure. It's definitely been Quote Week.
So many quotes this week, but we're excited to be back in studio. We got a special guest, Mr. Alex Sears, in studio for a cool interview. So why don't you go ahead and kick back, relax. The Together We Print podcast starts right now. All right, y'all, and we're back. Quote Week.
Quote Week.
It has been like that. I'm not even gonna front about it.
So many quotes out right now.
There hasn't been a whole lot of orders done this week, mainly because we have been quoting. I mean, I've sent like 5 quotes a day almost.
Yeah, I've been
this entire week.
Crazy amounts of quotes out.
And there is a few that have come in, and there has been a little bit of stuff that we've been working on. We were knocking out some stuff for spliffs recently this week.
Mm-hmm.
We have another huge order coming in for spliffs and Underbelly. So got a lot of stuff that we got to get done for them coming in, as well as we got another order from Eagle Air Jacks.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. We're going to be doing some more dry fit Badgers, our favorite Badger dry fits for Eagle Air Jacks, and that'll be incredible. But yeah, just tons of quotes out. We got another quote out to Valley Arts Tattoo Studio to do some more stuff for him. He was thrilled with the shirts we dropped off last week and was like, hey, I want some tank tops.
Our sponsor called us this morning, wanted more shirts.
Yeah, Allegiance Roof Systems needs some more stuff. So it's been absolutely wild. And on top of that, like I said, I probably have another 12 to 15 quotes out at the moment that are all kind of just waiting to be paid, and then we'll move forward. So it's been a wild week, but it's also allowed us to do some like catching up on the back end, get some stuff ready around here, get some design work done. Also work on some stuff for us. So we've been doing a lot of like new rebranding stuff for the Together We Print podcast. We're working really closely with Cody on some new stuff as far as some new transitions, some new intros, and just overall some new stuff for social media and to kind of improve on the podcast as we continue to grow this thing, as well as get some Together We Print podcast merch going.
That's it.
So that's going to be happening hopefully here in the next few weeks. Every single guest that comes in will have a slick new Together We Print podcast tee for them to take home, because we got to do something like that, right? We own a screen print shop, and we got a podcast. It's about time we do some.
We should probably do some merch or something.
It's about time, right?
Yeah.
All right, so y'all be on the lookout for that. But like I said, we got to do a lot of stuff like that. It's also been a lot of prepping for this summer and Furnace Fest coming up. Obviously, we've got this new design that I'm trying to push Alan over the edge a little bit to put out a little small pre-release on.
I'm just like, I don't know about that.
We'll see what happens. I'm still talking to him about it a little bit. So, but like I said, we've been working on a lot of stuff for Furnace Fest and the summer event that's kind of coming, which we're getting very close to announcing some major details on what's going on. We know we've been kind of teasing y'all with this whole summer event and Furnace Fest and music, and we've been having a lot of musicians on the podcast, and you might be wondering what we got going on.
Well, you'll find out soon enough.
We ain't gonna tell you yet.
Nope.
But it's coming soon. So
cliffhanger.
There's been a whole bunch of just logistics and back end work, trying to make sure that we're prepped for the beginning of February. I obviously go out on vacation for my 1-year anniversary with my wife next week. So we've got a small period of time where I'm out of the shop, just a Friday, but at the same time we kind of have to adjust our schedule. Because I leave first thing Thursday morning. So we've kind of had to adjust our schedule to make sure that we got the jobs that were on the books done by the time we got out of here. And like I said, now we're just kind of sitting on a pile of quotes. We are waiting on some garments to come in for obviously Eagle Air, and some more stuff for Spliffs and Underbelly. But once those get there and I get back from Vegas, we'll be really cranking hard trying to get all this stuff out. I'm assuming with another like 5 of these quotes locked in, and it's going to be just crazy town at the end of February, beginning of March. Hope you're ready.
Nope.
But yeah, so like I said, just a whole lot of stuff here in the shop, and it's good. It's nice to have the time to kind of sit back some weeks. I mean, it has been a lot of quoting,
what's crazy
but
is that we'll sit back and be like, oh, it's just quote week, and then the next 2 or 3 weeks after this, it's just like balls to the wall because we took a week of quotes, and now it's like we know the inevitable is coming.
yeah, it's coming, and but it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Stoked to be printing T-shirts, and it was nice, like I said, to have this week for you and me to kind of come in here and catch up on the little stuff, talk about stuff for Furnace Fest, talk about stuff for the summer event, talk about new grind time merch ideas, and together we print merch ideas. I mean, it's given us some time to kind of focus in on some things. Got some new guests scheduled for later in the season for the podcast, which we're really excited about. And overall, just kind of got some things knocked out here that needed to get done. You know, I feel like we get so busy some weeks that all the little extra stuff behind the scenes that we talk about, we don't always get the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? There's only so many hours in a day here.
That's why Cody's here today. If y'all have been with us for a long time, y'all know who Cody is. Cody worked for us and did a lot of our graphic design and art stuff, and helped us get this podcast kind of off the ground. And he had to leave for a time to, he's got some other big
creative projects, and doing a ton of stuff, man.
Sometimes we're able to snag him back here and there, and he comes in and still helps us out here. And we actually got him here in the shop. He's working right now while we're doing this.
Yeah. We were able to get Cody here today and sit down and go over some of like the new creative ideas, because Cody's been around since the beginning of really grind time forming, and the creative influence that comes from being able to have me, you, and him in a room, all being there since the beginning and kind of understanding the concept of grind time. It's so awesome, and collaborating with other artists, and you should make sure y'all are checking out everything Cody's doing with Vault Boy. All the Vault Boy videos are absolutely
Cody's
exploding.
Made all the Vault Boy. If you haven't checked out Vault Boy, check them out. But if you see his music videos, Cody made them.
It's everywhere, and on top of everything he's doing with his Rozu Creative,
on Instagram.
Make sure you're checking it out, because he is an incredible part of a lot of what we do, and it adds a perspective and a design influence to a lot of the stuff we do. I mean, it's one of those things where we sit down and we discuss the ideas that we have with Cody, because they come to life when we all sit down and are able to talk about them. Brings out a new idea in Alan and a new idea in me, and he has a different perspective that we really enjoy. So very excited to be getting all that done. And that's really been it here at the shop this week.
Yeah, not a lot crazy.
Like I said, it's been a whole lot of just getting ready, making sure we were prepped and knocking out those last few jobs before I get to Vegas, and then tons of quotes. But since we're done talking about everything going on here in the shop this week, that's going to bring us right on into a word from our sponsors.
Today's podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Allegiance Roof Systems, for all your roofing needs, commercial or residential. They're one of the top roofing companies in Northeast Florida, and they also give free estimates. Call them at 904-449-2416 and get yourself a new roof that will last a long time. Once again, that's 904-449-2416, and let them know that the Grind Time Boys sent you. Allegiance Roof Systems.
All right, y'all, and we are back. So it's going to move us right on into our Artist Spotlight section of the podcast. And for those of y'all who are unfamiliar with the Artist Spotlight, this is just a time where we take a second to shout out people who are doing cool stuff. We all get caught in the monotony of scrolling through our phones. We smash with the share button. We smash that like button. But who really sees it? Who really knows that we liked it? So this is just a moment where we sit down and we say, hey, we see you, and we're acknowledging that you're doing some cool stuff. So, Alan, why don't you go ahead and take it away with the Artist Spotlight for this week.
Today's Artist Spotlight is on Instagram. It's Tristan.nuit. I think I'm saying that right. .artworks. Tristan.nuit Artworks on Instagram. He's a graphic designer. Kind of been doing it since 2014, but the stuff that he does is absolutely sick. He does a ton of like font stuff for like metal bands and things like that. Dude's on Fiverr doing commission work. I mean, look, he's hand doing a lot of these
these custom font
like
logos,
and they are just absolutely amazing. Like, I think like I might hit this guy up for some stuff.
Yeah, I think. Dude, for Southpaw, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I love it. Everything that he does is just so sick, especially if you're into like that darker, deeper, metally style stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm really digging the overall theme down here too, with like all the black with just single color white, kind of like centered. Even like this, where the screen looks black, like just the feel of his page is incredible.
I mean, he's done some stuff for some pretty big bands too.
Yeah,
I believe. I think I seen one. Keep going.
Dude, a ton of bands, dude, and a ton of other things. Feral Kings, Exalted Night Music. I mean, Insane Six, Moonrights.
I think there's something. There it is. Trenches.
That's that's awesome, man.
This guy's artwork is just phenomenal. So if you guys can, go over to Instagram, search Tristan.nuit Artworks. That's Tristan.nuit.artworks. Tristan.nuit Artworks on Instagram. Give him a follow and support the guy. He's doing some sick artwork stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's gonna go ahead and wrap up the artist spotlight for today, which is gonna go ahead and bring us on into our special guest interview for today's episode. This gentleman is one of my best friends, a bandmate in S.P.O.R.E, and the creative mind behind some of my favorite kitchen creations, including the brand new menu at Underbelly Jack's. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Alex Sears, y'all. What's up, my dude?
What's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Well, thanks for coming out.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys are far, though.
Yeah, it's way out here.
You get used to it. I mean, it doesn't seem that far for us anymore.
Well, you live over here.
I live over. Well, he doesn't really.
Oh, where do you live?
I'm in Orange Park.
Orange Park.
Oh, that's far too.
It's almost about as far for him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's all highway though. It's not that bad getting over here.
It's not. You're just making a big.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm 10 minutes from here, so I take it for granted. But
it's like, I got to do a podcast. We're an hour drive away. Nah, count me out.
It really wasn't that bad. I think it was only like 23 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Which is I think I hit downtown, got all green lights.
Yep.
And I live right on the other
score one.
Right. I live right on the other side of the Matthews Bridge, so there's no lights. I get on the expressway.
Yep.
Went straight into downtown, green lights all the way to 95. Didn't hit any traffic. Was here literally in 20 minutes. It was great.
It's awesome. Can't beat that. Well, sick, man. Well, yeah, we are very excited to have you on the podcast, man. I'm glad that it lined up and worked out, and now you're back in Jacksonville, so it's easy to do things like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll start kind of at the beginning, because it seems to be one of those things I like to talk about, the origin story, right? So obviously you and me have been playing music a decade
this month
in S.P.O.R.E this month.
It actually might be. I think it's a decade in 2 days. Wasn't it February 6th?
It's the first week of February. First shows. Yeah, so
it's almost y'all's 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's wild, is it not?
It is wild.
It's crazy to me. But so
it explains why my back hurts.
There was a lot of burdens to carry in that band. I agree.
we're old now.
But yeah, like I said, I'm always interested in the origin story, and you and me have played music together for a decade, so I have a little bit of an understanding of where you grew up, how you started playing music. But for the listeners, tell us a little bit about when and how you started getting interested in playing music.
Well, my Aunt Crystal, my dad's sister, had moved at some time in the late 80s and left a very nice old antique piano at my first childhood home, and I would sit and spend hours picking out jingles that I heard on the television. And then one day she moved into a house, came and collected the piano, and when my mom moved, we were house shopping, and we walked into a house that was quite out of our price range at the time, but they had a piano in there and it was only a few $100. And she was like, well, Alex really enjoyed that a lot as a kid, as a younger kid. Now I was probably 8 at the time when she bought this piano. And then I started taking lessons from the music director at the Catholic school I went to, Dr. Bernard Sands. He ended up going on to be the lead music director for the cathedral in St. Augustine for the whole Catholic Diocese of St. Augustine.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Incredible dude.
Yeah.
Gave me free piano lessons for probably close to 10 years.
Wow.
It was an incredible gift.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it all started. Then in 6th grade, I auditioned to get into Landon, which at the time was the middle school magnet program. The following year, they opened La Villa, so I transferred to La Villa and then on to Douglas Anderson. Did some marching band stuff in high school and then college for classical piano. And then shortly after that, we started S.P.O.R.E. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it got real weird.
Yeah. Real fast.
Real fast.
Yeah, well, okay, so marching band, we always got to talk about band because that's,
of course.
I mean, that's where me and Alan met.
I love marching
That,
band.
yeah, that, I mean,
great.
I came into Middleburg High School my freshman year and wanted to be on the drum line, and there were a good amount of seniors and juniors that were still online that year. So it was a little cutthroat on what freshmen.
Drumline's hard to get on.
Yeah, it was one of those things where freshmen were going to have to work pretty hard, and you were going to have to either play bass or like the one tenor quad section that was available, like the secondary quads. Right. And so I came in and immediately met Alan, who was one of the snare players, and me and him hit it off just because he played shows at Murray Hill, and I went to Murray Hill a lot, and we were both kind of into the same music, and it's kind of just blossomed since then. I mean, me and him were close in high school and then after high school, but marching band and school band, that was the shit. I loved it, man.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, it's so funny to me to think back on like school, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of people, you know, high school sucked, and I'm like, nah, I had a great time in high school.
I had a great
Yeah,
time too.
fantastic time.
And I think that honestly, a lot of that has to do with like the arts programs.
Yeah,
that
100%.
we were all part of.
Yeah,
because without that, I don't know if I would have had as good of a time.
I would agree.
I kind of understand my friends that are like, oh, what do you mean high school was awesome? I just like went to school every day and then went home.
Yeah.
But you know, I was like, I played in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
when
pretty
I was
awesome.
in,
Yeah.
You do
grade,
a million
like,
different competitions and win awards, and you feel accomplished. And like the bus rides there and back were wild.
Epic.
You know?
They were epic.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it was just, it's perspective. It was what you were involved in or what you were doing or how you looked at it. I mean, we had a blast.
Yeah,
well,
same.
and my thing was, you know, I relate a lot of it to, I credit a lot of those, the extracurricular and band activities to kind of like my social skills now, because when I was a kid, you know, I went on vacations and trips with like my family, you know what I'm saying? Like we'd go to Indiana and see my parents, but some of the first trips that I actually got to take with a bunch of my friends out of town, like people that I was close with, were band trips, going to like Washington, D.C. and playing with concert band and stuff like that. And those trips were so pivotal in like the way I socially interacted, because I was always a goofball in band, and I was constantly
in trouble with the band teacher a lot.
A lot, you know what I'm saying?
I
and
got
it was
in trouble with every teacher a lot.
Yeah,
so I can kind of resonate.
It was
with
all
that.
like harmless trouble, you know what I'm saying? Like I was good at like doing little things that like
trickery
would aggravate you, but like, could you really get that aggravated about it? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
things like forking. You know, forking teachers' yards and like, you know, putting plastic forks all over their yard, or the school football field, like, you know,
or the
random
one time where y'all went out of town and y'all were told
terrorize the band teacher.
Not to leave the hotel
all right, listen,
room.
I'm gonna make this is the podcast. But I'm gonna make a long story very short form for you, because I'm gonna try to make it as short form as I can.
Okay.
So in high school, I had a band teacher, and we went to Washington, D.C. And Miss Smith, I was not on great terms with her, but that was because I was kind of a goofball and in a little bit of trouble with her. So I'm making jokes when we're in D.C. We all got hotel rooms, and we have to bunk up with like 3 or 4 people in each room. So, and I'm making jokes that like, oh, we're in D.C., I'm going out. And she's like, no, you're not. You're not going out. You're not leaving the hotel like after I put you all in your rooms. And I'm like, yeah, I'm obviously going to do that. Like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave as soon as you put me in my room. So she's kind of the whole time like, I got you. I got it figured out. So finally, about 2 weeks before the trip, she comes into the class, and she sits me down, and she basically tells me, she says, hey, this is what I'm going to do so you can't get out of your room. And I'm like, all right, what do you mean? And she goes, every night when we put y'all in your room, we're going to walk, as soon as we close the door, know you're all in there, we're going to put a piece of tape across the door jamb. Okay, so if you walk out, that piece of tape will be removed, and there will be no way for you to shut the door and put the tape back.
On. That
So,
makes sense.
so she's like, so I will know if you leave your room. Don't do that. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't really want to leave my room, right? It's not like this thing that I'm like
He's not
super
actually trying to go
motivated.
out.
But also, like, is she going to ship you home? You're still going to be in Washington.
I'm in Washington, D.C., right? So,
Right.
but my mind's just thinking more or less like, I've got to beat her, right? Like, I've got to make her think that I left my room,
Gotcha.
but like she doesn't really know. Like, I got to find a way to just mess with her. And then I figured it out. And so we go to D.C.
Well, first off, he said he took this next 2 weeks of planning.
I did. I
He
really
planned this out.
thought about it. I had a million different. I was talking to other people. Like, I was trying my best to figure out what exactly I was going to do. Whether I was going to go out a balcony, whether I was going to bring a screwdriver and try to like get out a window. Like, what I was going to try to do to make it seem like I actually did go out, but I was just going to stay in the room and more or less mess with her. So, in the end, I ended up figuring it out.
Diabolical.
Dude, it's
We
great.
go
Wow.
to we go to DC.
I love
The
this.
whole trip.
That's why we're friends.
The whole trip for the first few nights, I just stay in my room. I just hang out in my room. It's fine. Last night rolls around, and I'm kind of baiting her the whole time, like, I'm going out tonight. And she's like, no, you're not. And then she wake up the next morning and be like, obviously you didn't go out because your tape's still here.
Right.
I'm like, all right, whatever. So last night, I'm like, it's time. So I sit and I wait. I wait. They've shut us in our room. She's told us that I have not figured it out. It's the last night in D.C. Haha, Chris, I got you. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
He can't
Have a nice
stand that,
night.
though. He can't
Right.
stand
Have a nice
that.
Of course
night.
he can't.
No.
So as soon as I know that the coast is clear, I open up my hotel room door, peel the tape off my door, go down the hallway, and start ripping the tape off every single hotel room door in the whole hallway.
Genius.
Go back,
Yeah,
go back,
dude.
Genius.
go back to my room, shut the door, go to sleep.
Genius.
Next morning, dude.
That just looks like a random kid walking down the hall with another family.
Or
The-
that every person.
Or that every person left, or maybe, the janitor or
Who
custodian came down the
knows,
hall
dude?
and
That's the
went, what's going on
question.
with
Dude,
this?
she woke up the next morning so like the hornet's
That's
nest,
amazing.
bro. And it was lit. And to be honest with you, that was my sophomore year. That was my last year in band. Because I didn't actually, things went so downhill for me after that,
man.
and it was hard to convince her that I hadn't actually left at that point. At that point, she was so convinced
Right.
that I had walked out, and I remember being in like high school, and like, check the cameras, like you can look up the cameras, and we're in like some sketchy Washington D.C. hotel. They didn't have cameras in every hallway. This is in like what, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like. She was so mad, and she made the rest of my band year so awful. But that look on her face when she opened the
made it
door the
worth
next
it?
morning.
Yeah, he
Made it
won.
worth
You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God, it was the best thing that's ever happened, dude. One of the best things that's ever happened.
Oh, it
She
makes
was
me feel really good.
oh, it's so good.
Well, he just-
she
it- it-
she
for
was
him,
just
he
I
won, you know what I
open up
mean?
the door and she's just staring at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's up, Miss Smith? And just word vomited all over me in the hotel room. It was pretty good.
In front of your classmates.
In front of the three guys I was bunked with,
Right.
who one of
know?
which Chuck knew. One of the guys was asleep. Chuck Brisbane was with me. He was staying in the
okay,
hotel room with
okay.
me. So Chuck Brisbane was asleep at the time, or he was awake, but knew what I was doing. The other two roommates that were staying with us had an idea that I was trying to screw around and do something, but they were both passed out by the time I had actually went out. Chuck kept real tight-lipped about it, and luckily we just
for him.
breezed right through.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of one of those
Good
things where it
friend
was,
right there.
Yeah,
I was
good
just
friend,
like,
good friend.
I was like, bro, I don't know. I was like,
He
Miss
just
Smith.
looks at you, gives you the nod.
Yeah.
Automatically know what it's about still to this day, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Chuck
probably why they're still
Chuck
good friends
was
to this day.
ride or
That's
die
Because of
on that
that.
one.
That's awesome.
Ride or die on that one. So yeah, that was a pretty good one. But yeah, I feel like band obviously shaped a lot of the way, and I feel like it also encouraged me to want to play in a band more. Like, even though the idea of like concert band or like marching band is very far from like what we do in the bars and the music venues, the
see, I
idea
disagree a little
of
bit.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. The idea of like everyone getting together and playing their parts to make orchestrated piece,
Right.
that concept's the same, right? So it kind of I feel like it was a major catalyst in me wanting to really do that.
Yeah,
You
and
feel
I
the same
also
way?
think the developing relationships, like we were talking about when you get on those bus rides,
Yeah.
and you start to build, we call them team building exercises.
Yeah.
You know, when you start to have this really good time with people, and next thing you know, especially the drumline, they'd be in the back practicing.
That's exactly
their
what it is.
You know, with their sticks.
Everybody
on their
would
pads
come
or
back there and
on,
hang
like,
out with us.
windows or whatever. And yeah, the drumline first off was the coolest part of the band.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to hang out with like the clarinet section.
That's so funny
Or
because
the
that's
flute.
exactly
Mike was
Because
playing
Mike
clarinet.
played clarinet.
those are usually the boys and girls that will rat you out.
So flute too. Flute
And
was real bad
as
about
well.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
flute as well. I will say the trumpet players were usually pretty cool.
I never
Yep.
met an oboe I liked.
Not one.
Never met an
Oh, we had
oboe I
some, we had
liked.
some pretty good friends that were trumpet players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trumpet, trombone, French horn,
Yeah.
drumline,
Tuba.
Chuck played
They were all-
tuba. Yeah.
It's really pretty
Horn.
much all the high end woodwinds. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
the narcs.
Woodwinds
Yeah,
were
100%.
100%.
Sure.
Like you know,
It was
you know how
Sears,
like
bro.
band people get a bad rap.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, summer camp band nerd.
Yeah.
It's guys, it's the woodwinds.
It's
Yeah.
the
high-end
woodwinds.
Well,
Yep.
there's tiers to it,
Yeah,
right? So you got
right.
woodwinds that are bottom tier. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then you got horns, which is like mid tier.
Right.
And then you got drumline, top tier.
Yeah,
Got
drumline
it.
is definitely top tier. They're
That's-
the only ones
that-
I ever hung out with.
Yeah.
Aside from the jazz band. Jazz band was pretty cool because everybody in the jazz band
Yeah,
was pretty much
yeah.
kind
Well,
of
it was
like
all the cool
drumline.
people from
Right.
mid tier and top tier
Right.
getting together and being like, you know what, we're gonna do something even cooler.
Right. Without the flutes
Without
and the clarinets.
woodwinds. yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, I loved it and it was a big part of it. So that's cool to hear, man. That's definitely awesome to hear that you kind of grew up playing the same way. And then you said shortly after that, after getting out of school and everything else, we started S.P.O.R.E, and that was obviously a totally different thing then than it kind of even is now because it's just grown in such an exponential way in the last decade. But that's really cool. You and me met just at like a random jam at the beach.
Blues Rock Hotel.
Blues Rock
What's
Hotel.
the name of that old guitar player that ran that place?
Oh my
Do you remember?
gosh,
He
man.
used to play with Stevie
Frank.
Ray Vaughan's
Frank.
Frank. Yeah, he used to play with. He'd cut that album with Double Trouble.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
great blues player.
Yeah.
Total
Nut job.
nut job, alcoholic, like face first on the floor at 2 p.m. kind of drinker. It was. Guy ran that place into the ground. It was a great concept. I think now it's called Sea Chasers.
Yeah, Sea Chasers, and
then that seems
much
to be
nicer.
doing pretty well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they totally like leveled the building and built like a
Right,
brand
a
new
whole new
building,
thing,
and it's incredible. But I mean, it was cool at the time because he was letting us come in there and host like those just random
Yes.
jam nights,
Was
like
that
some of our
Tuesday
friends.
night or something?
Yeah, it was Tuesday nights,
Tuesday night.
and
I think that's where Beacherang was born.
yeah, they had
I wanna
started
say
doing
that they
some events.
started
Yeah,
doing that there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually where I met pretty much all of the jam scene family that I know in Jacksonville or have known for
Yeah,
a long
yeah.
time. I met at Blues Rock Hotel.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on there at the time. I mean, I don't remember what you and Joe were doing, but I remember me and Steven played like a 6 a.m. like mimosa sunrise after party after Skrillex and Too Fresh at Freebird, and they hosted like an all-night party.
Where would I have been?
I have no idea what you were
That would've
doing
been
at the
awesome to
time.
go to.
But it was
Right?
like an all-night thing that we were all, me and Wes Emfinger, a bunch of people. We were all at
That's
Blues
where I
Rock
met Wes, yeah.
after Freebird, and Too Fresh was hanging out and whatever. And then next thing I know, they're like, "We're gonna stay open until the sun rises, and we can start serving mimosas." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And they're like, "Y'all want to play at 6?" And we were like, I mean, at the time, I had that little Ford Focus. And
Yeah,
I had a
I
drum
remember
set in the back seat at like all times. It was like a thing that it was always there.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, we could do that. So we did, and I think that that was the night that Frank came out and played with me and Steven for a little while.
I do remember hearing stories about that.
Yeah, and he shredded. I
Right.
mean, I got to give it to him. The guy shredded it. He was unreal on the guitar, but he
Blues
was
players primarily.
total rock star for a few minutes. It
Right.
was like that was the best moment he had in 10 years.
And
You know what I'm saying?
And that might have actually ramped up his love for us hosting that night there.
He really did. Yeah.
Because he was like, "Oh man, you guys are great. Some young talent in here. This is fantastic."
Yeah. That was cool, man. And like I said, that small little scene blossomed into something crazy for us. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it's cool to still be doing it 10 years later. So, well, you're back in Jax. Now we got to talk about the bus, bro.
The bus.
All right.
The
So
bus.
you've got this bus project. I'm not going to say too much about it because I want you to tell the listeners about it.
Okay.
Tell me what you're doing
so
with the bus.
So my girlfriend Brianna and I decided we wanted to tackle this giant project of building a custom tiny home, and we had kind of gathered a whole bunch of ideas. She had like a whole Pinterest, thing going for it, and then we finally landed on a bus.
Like a yellow school bus.
A yellow school bus.
Okay.
Originally, we were looking at like MCI motor coaches, or like Prevost, like actual
like buses, yeah.
buses that were built for like tour buses.
Yeah, for living in, basically.
Right, because we kind of thought that a tour bus would be easy to go ahead and it would already have plumbing.
Just
it would
basically
already
remodeling
have
it.
electrical, so we would just remodel it, right? But the issue was finding one of those old tour buses that was in a good enough condition, but also close enough for us to go look at.
Yeah.
And check out. Like, you could find them. They would be in like Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, in the Midwest
or
and
the
up
Midwest,
northeast.
or like,
yeah.
Oh, this guy's got one in Arizona.
Yeah.
But I'm not traveling to Arizona
Just to go look at something.
Oh, no, never mind. It's got some rust issues that this guy lied to me about.
Yeah.
So we found we landed on the yellow school bus, and we found we were living in Dunedin at the time, which is kind of, for those of you that don't know, it's like the Tampa Bay area.
Yep.
And so the Tampa bus market basically deals in fresh out of public school service buses. So these are buses that have been well maintained. They all have service records. They're they're transporting our children. So and they had probably 50 buses on their lot.
Wow.
And so we went and walked around in a lot of them, and I'm tall, so it made picking the right bus difficult because some buses have
shorter
an
than
interior
others
that I can't stand up straight in. And then some buses, the International is what we landed on. It's like 6'4" inside, and I'm 6'1" and some change, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Once you put a ceiling in it, I mean, you know, an inch or two, you have like an inch worth of gap before you're hitting the ceiling.
Right, and I wanted to at least be able to stand up straight, like when walking down the center.
You don't want to walk with your neck hunched over.
I don't mind hunching over like the sink and
doing
dishes because I'm already hunched over anyway. So we landed on this 40-foot International flat nose rear engine. They call it a pusher. Because the engine's in the rear.
Pusher.
And it is the most square feet out of all of the school bus options, simply because of the rear engine and flat nose. So the length of the bus is all interior.
Yep.
Whereas a normal dog nose bus would have this huge hood that is technically taking up like 8 feet of space. It's unusable. And currently, so anyways, we scooped it up. It's absolutely amazing. A good friend of mine, Scott Meinhardt, builds race cars for a living, stalker cars, stalkercars.com. Guy's incredible. He came and looked at it and gave it, the
green light
once over, and was like, for $5,000, this is a steal.
Yeah.
And so we scooped it up, had it sitting in our place in Dunedin, and then used it as our moving vehicle.
Okay.
Instead of renting a truck.
Yeah. You just put everything y'all
We
owned
stripped
in
all
the
the
bus.
seats out of it.
Yeah.
Well, like 80% of them.
And
then used it to fill. We emptied our house into it and then drove to Jacksonville, unloaded our house out of it, and now have been slowly doing the demo for it. We haven't gotten into the build section, but it is proving to be a learning experience for all involved.
I could imagine.
Trying your patience?
A little bit. I think that the benches primarily are the biggest pain in the ass.
Like taking the seats themselves out.
Okay, so you wouldn't think this. You're like,
It's like
a couple
4
bolts.
bolts. No big
It's
deal.
8 bolts.
Okay.
And
Super leg, right?
Yeah, basically. Some of them have a couple more. The ones that bolt to the side of the bus, they're impossible to get to, especially the ones bolted to the side. If you already have a bench there, and you're my size, it's hard to get up between. When's the last time you were on a school bus?
Oh, bro, the seats are small.
They're not big.
They're small.
They're not meant for people that are
They're
full
not for
size.
grown people,
Right. So getting down in there to get
laying on the floor.
Right. Oh man, you want to talk about being covered in like hair and gum from like who knows how long ago. Like I found a love note from a kid's mom in there, which was like, Timmy or Johnny or whatever. It was hilarious. Brianna and I laughed about it. But getting those out takes 2 people, one person up top with an impact driver and one person underneath the bus laying on the ground holding a socket on the nut that's on the bottom.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
Having to yell at each other. Are you holding it?
Right.
Wait, no, hold on.
hurry up, like because I'm doing basically 6-inch killers under it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I can lay directly flat on my back.
Yeah,
but I also can't sit up completely.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
my
you're like
God.
laying on your back, but like kind of doing a half sit up.
Yeah,
and I'm like starting to shake because I've done 12 benches already. I'm like, I got to take a break tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we just actually yesterday finally finished getting 100% of the benches out.
Oh, okay, there you go.
That's a big relief.
Oh, dude, it's huge.
Yeah.
And then half of the flooring. And so the next thing we will do is sand down the flooring because there's some minor, rust to that thin sheet metal. So we're going to sand that down and then seal it. And then we can actually start the build, which is the exciting part.
Yeah, that's going to be
the
awesome.
Demo
Man.
is just, you have to do it.
Are you guys going to leave every window? Or are you going to take some out and maybe frame something else in? Or just leave them and just wall right over it?
I've always wanted to remove, right when you walk up the stairs into the bus, and the first benches that were right there on the left, that's essentially going to be our living room.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to remove 4 of those windows and put in a giant picture window.
Okay.
Something with like an uninterrupted view.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because the whole goal is to be able to drive it to these beautiful places and have
look
your
at
house. And I want an unobstructed
view of everything.
Park on the side of the Blue Ridge Parkway and wake up and be able to have
just
coffee
look
and look out there.
Yeah.
So we will be doing that, but then also like there's areas where the windows are going to have to be removed or at least like sheet metaled over.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Areas like between walls, you don't want to be able to see in from outside and see like where a wall corner comes up to.
For
so
sure.
We'll end up metaling that in, and then we have an idea to put a skylight shower, which I'm really excited about. I've seen a couple videos of some schoolies, by the way, the term for people that convert buses. So I've seen a couple schoolies where they have the bathroom and it is literally just a square and it's like a waterfall or rain shower head, and then it's skylight directly above it. And so Brianna and I are kind of looking forward to making that happen.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty killer. You'll be working on the bus.
Several years to go still.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
We're about 6 months behind schedule already. So,
but then eventually you'll have this thing, and the end goal is that you can take it kind of wherever you want and live wherever you want for a small period of time or a long period of time at some point. So I dig the idea. I think it's a really cool concept. Once Daryl got his bus done, I remember kind of being like, oh wow, this is really freaking crazy.
And then Daryl's was the big inspiration for me to take the leap. I've been wanting to. They have like contracts for public schools that come up every now and then. Yeah. And they have to do another bid. Mm-hmm. And then the county, because it's government based, has to take the lowest bidder. For whatever. So they end up canceling these bus contracts and then having to sell all these buses. And when I was 17, I tried to talk my mom into buying me a handicap bus, and I jokingly was like, so I can lift the kegs into the back of it, because it has the hand. When ultimately, about 6 months later, I was like, kegs, no, gear. All my gear into the back of it. And I never got. My mom thought that was an insane idea, but so it's actually been something that's been in my head for a really long time.
Yeah, I think all of us who are musicians have always thought that at one point or another. Like, what am I doing? Why won't we just get a bus, dude? When we're on tour, we'll just live in the bus and we'll have all our gear in it. Like,
and then when we're not on tour, you can still enjoy the bus. You take it out to Swanee, go camping. Like
I remember a small period of time in like high school where I had the idea of buying like a conversion van and ripping all the seats out of it and then putting like a lazy boy recliner in the back of it.
Life now.
Well, no, for sure.
Now.
But at the time, I remember I was talking to my dad about it. I was like, "Yeah, Dad, for my first car, let me get a conversion van. Let me rip the seats out and put a lazy boy in the back." And he was like, "What?" And I was like,
"He was like, you're high."
He's looking at me like, "You can't do that." And I was like, "Why, man? It'd be so cool." And he's like, "Bro, how you gonna go pick up a girl for a first date and meet her dad when you got a conversion van with a lazy boy in the back?" And I was like,
it's not.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point.
At that age, it'd be really creepy. At 40,
much older, yeah. Right. But no, I mean to have that much space, and then realistically, just to have a home that you can kind of move around a lot. I think everybody appeals to that idea at some point. You know, me and Stephanie have talked about the idea of one day getting an RV or a motorhome to kind of like be able to travel with Charlie and, you know, go see the country, but
everybody's
have a place to
thing, you know?
to
everybody
be.
one day wants to
Well,
have something that
you
they
know,
can just travel in,
I meet different people that accomplish it different ways. And like when we went on the cruise a couple years ago, I met a lot of retirees on that cruise that do nothing more at that point in their lives than go on cruises.
Oh yeah.
They literally
there are cruise people.
They're literally they pay for like
there's like RV camper people.
Yeah, dude, they pay for like cheap cruises. They get the alcohol package. They sit there and they eat great meals all day. They sit around by pools, reading books, and doing whatever they want to do. They go gamble in the casino.
No, sounds like
amazing.
a life.
100%.
That's amazing.
And I just remember sitting there and being like, "Oh wow, that never even crossed my mind." But I was drinking a bunch of mimosas at this bar this one day, and the guy next to me just drums up some conversation and is asking me about a good craft beer that they had. You know any good craft beers in here? And I'm like, "Yeah, that was great." And he ended up getting into it, man. And he's like, "Yeah, in fact, when this cruise ports, the same boat leaves out the next day for another cruise." He's like, "I got to go down there to the front desk and make sure they know that we're not leaving our room because we're on the next cruise."
Nice.
And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me, right?"
Nice.
He's like, "Yeah, we're
piggybacking cruises.
Is always doing, dude."
Genius.
Yeah, and then they'll come back, pick up their car or their little vehicle, and then drive to the next port and go on a cruise from there for a few weeks.
And see, that sounds like a great retirement.
Yes.
I think Brianna and I's goal with the bus is almost reverse that. So the idea is to build out the bus, live in the bus, and then the money you're saving from not having to pay for housing is going to go towards buying our first piece of property, which I'm looking in western North Carolina, Tennessee area.
Got it.
So then at that point, we would be able to drive the bus,
stay there. Yep.
You know, start getting established, making money, and then, you know, put in a power pole if it doesn't already have one, or a well, or, you know, whatever else.
Yeah, you live in it while you're building your the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have like the reverse retirement. We're trying to do the bus now while it's easy and we're young, and to build up something for later when we're older.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea, man. I think that's awesome. And I'm stoked to see how it kind of comes about as y'all continue to work on it, man.
At a certain point, we're definitely going to end up taking a S.P.O.R.E trip in it.
Oh, in the bus.
Or
100%.
A whole friend's bus ride.
Like,
yeah.
we're definitely
have a
gonna
housewarming party in your bus.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, sweet, man. So we got to talk about, you know, you're back in Jack's. We've mentioned that now, but now that you're back in Jack's, you've officially, all right, I want to go ahead and just congratulate you again. You're officially the kitchen manager for Underbelly Jack's. Nice muting your phone, Alan. The kitchen manager.
No, I did. It's my watch. It's the watch.
For those of you that weren't here when the cameras weren't rolling, Alan made sure to remind everybody to mute their phone or turn it off.
And then didn't mute his watch.
I did. No, the watch is linked to it, and I didn't even think about that, like, because it didn't make no noise here, but definitely on the watch.
You got to mute all your devices, bro.
Yeah, well, I never had. Okay.
Get with it.
Time.
Get with it. So yeah, now that you're back in Jack's, you've officially, congratulations again. You are the kitchen manager for Underbelly Jack's.
Yes.
You helped create or really get some food in there because it wasn't really happening there for a minute. And the menu, dude. I mean, I'm obviously partial to a chili cheese dog. You know that.
Same.
So, but I mean,
I've eaten so many of them.
Oh my gosh!
In my lifetime,
it's one of my favorites.
Span the United States.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. But I saw the menu. Everybody's all of a sudden talking about currywurst and currywurst sausage dogs and chili cheese sausage dogs, and the whole time I'm sitting here and I'm like, I know he's smart enough to go to Azar to get this sausage, so I know it's fire. And then of course it's Azar.
Of course.
And dude, it's incredible. Now I haven't tried the flatbreads yet. I'm excited to try some of the pizza, the flatbreads and the pizzas.
They're pretty good.
I am actually excited to try them. But every time I go in there to get food recently, it's just, even like when we played the S.P.O.R.E show that night, I didn't eat with my meal ticket at Spliffs.
Neither did
I went around the corner to Underbelly and bothered Cassie to get me a chili cheese dog and some coleslaw. Extra slaw. The slaw.
Oh, yeah.
Fire, dude.
Yeah.
The jalapeno slaw.
Jalapeno slaw.
Fire,
that is
dude.
Good. Thank you.
Oh, So yeah, let's talk a little bit about Underbelly in the kitchen. So obviously, you worked in Dunedin for a long time, and as I mentioned on the podcast earlier, you are the creator of some of my favorite things I've eaten from a kitchen. And
is it beer cheese wontons?
Oh my God, dude!
Is it beer cheese wontons? I knew it with the Thai barbecue.
That's one of my favorite things ever, dude.
I knew it.
To the point where I think I told you I bought like American Classic IPA and brought it home and got like a not nearly as good beer cheese recipe and tried to recreate. I ended up just busting open wontons in a bunch of oil and had like cream cheese fried with like wonton wrappers. You know what I'm saying? It was terrible.
So the key is you got to egg wash the corners when you fold them. B, you got to freeze them before you fry them.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Definitely didn't freeze them.
Noted.
They went in. They went in
room right apart.
Room temp. Didn't work out. So, but yeah, tell me a little bit about developing the menu for Underbelly, and why you wanted to do what you did, and kind of how that came about.
So the whole idea for Underbelly, it is a music venue. It's like a 600-person capacity venue, and the idea of selling a traditional menu becomes difficult in a setting where you have people packed in there shoulder to shoulder. So the whole idea was handhelds.
Yeah.
The issue I have with handhelds is immediately people think sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Sandwiches they only go so far. Like for me personally, I don't want a sandwich for dinner.
Yep.
I eat them a lot.
You eat a lot of sandwiches?
Yeah.
For
He
dinner?
eats a lot of sandwiches, but I do tend to lean to the side of I don't want a sandwich after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly.
It's a lunch thing.
Exactly. Sandwich is a lunch thing, even if it's a hot sandwich.
Yeah.
It's still,
Breakfast and lunch.
And I love sandwiches. Don't get me wrong. I've survived off sandwiches for years.
Yeah.
But I think the idea was to get something really delicious, made in-house, and easy for someone to stand and consume or sit at the bar without too much trouble of service.
Yeah.
In a traditional setting of the term service.
Yep.
And so yeah,
dude, I think you absolutely knocked it out. So I mean, what obviously you've got the chili cheese dog. Now the other one that I'm hearing everybody absolutely raving about is this currywurst, right?
Currywurst.
So I mean, I know that you were doing a lot of menu experimentation when you've been down in Dunedin for the last few years, and I know that you've talked to me quite a few times about curry. So I know that it's something that was kind of how did that idea come up? Because honestly, every person I talk to is like, "Have you tried the currywurst?"
Currywurst is the number one seller currently on the sausage side of the menu.
Okay,
the braised chicken is the pizza side. So currywurst, interesting story. I actually really like this story. Mike Bryant, who your guest last week.
Yep.
He had a trip to go do a collaboration with Distruce Brewing.
Okay.
I believe that's how you pronounce it, out of Belgium.
Okay.
And so he and his father flew out there, and they were going to do this recipe collaboration with this world-renowned Belgian brewer. And in the time they were there, they flew in, I want to say, to London, and then from there went through France, Germany, and over to Belgium.
Okay.
And in Germany, a very popular fast food, street food item is currywurst. It's where they take a German bratwurst and then a curry. Now, ketchup in Europe is a different term than ketchup means here. Here it's like a sugary, corn syrup, tomato-ish paste. And over there it's a little more natural. So they would basically serve a chopped up brat over fries covered in like a tomato curry sauce. So when Mike came back from that collaboration, he was like, I really want to try to do this at the brewery. Yeah. For a special. I did a food special every week for years. Yeah. And so the currywurst, and especially because of Oktoberfest, I was already kind of honed in on German food, because we would change the entire menu once a year for 4 or 5 days into just German, traditional German fare. And so the currywurst idea came from Mike, and I explored a bunch of different, cooking down of whole crushed tomatoes, adding curry and a bunch of other spices, and then basically landed on the currywurst that I turned in for Underbelly. Yeah. So it went from a special at Dunedin Brewery into an actual sausage dog on a bun. Instead of over fries. Got it. It's on a bun with a side. And it happens to be the #1 seller, and that surprised me because it didn't do as well as I thought it would have in Dunedin, where people are way more
into the
experimental
traditional, especially the traditional German stuff.
Right,
I mean,
right. But also they're more adventurous.
Yeah.
Food.
I can see that.
I think that's very apparent in the restaurant industry in St. Pete, Tampa area.
Oh yeah, they got everything, dude.
Right.
It's all over the place.
Right.
Yeah. No, I like I said, it was something that piqued my interest because I've seen over the last few years like curry ketchups and stuff becoming like a thing. Like I don't know why. I didn't really know why, but it starts to make sense when you say tomato and curry. Like I could kind of see the concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, all the food that I've tried over there, which has mainly been chili cheese dogs and jalapeno coleslaw.
Almost
the
entirely.
slaw dog, let me tell you right now, the slaw dog is fire too, bro.
Oh, listen, I put the slaw on my chili cheese dog most of the time, so that's kind of where I'm at.
That I was going for there was obviously it's got to be easy.
Yep.
And it's got to crank out to people, to a large amount of people, for a concert venue.
Yep.
But also, it can't be in the restaurant industry. We call it rip and dip. Which is where it comes straight from a bag, from a freezer, into a plate. It can't be rip and dip.
Yeah.
Because for me, as a chef, I'm not going to be entertained or having a good time just ripping and dipping.
Yeah, I get it.
Anything that we do not make fresh in-house is we make sure that we at least source locally. So you had mentioned Azar Sausage, which is right up the street on Union.
Yep.
Village Bread, which is right over the river on Phillips Highway. And then everything else is made fresh in-house.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, it's like I said, the food's been incredible so far. I'm super excited. The feedback seems to be great from everybody who's been coming in.
These aren't no little sausages, too, buddy.
No, dude, these things
they're
are freaking
massive.
honkers, bro. They're honkers.
You eat one whole one
meat
with a
pickles.
side, dude, you're full.
Meat pickles.
Meat pickles.
That's right. They're large. Adam Kenaway actually recently got the.
This is insane.
I called it the double-decker double wide, but he called it the double barrel. It was 2 whole dogs inside a bun with double portion of chili on top.
Oh my gosh!
It's mild.
It is a fork and knife thing, right?
He ate it with his hands.
Oh, God.
And I walked up to the food window and he was standing there, and I just dropped the box. And I swear you could have heard it from outside. It had to weigh like 4 pounds.
Shook the ground out front.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Adam's eyes, he heard it and they lit up. Like, wow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to try everything else there, man. And of course, we have to talk a little bit about music. We got to move a little bit more about music, but particularly your musical endeavors for 2022. So obviously, we got some stuff in the works for S.P.O.R.E.
Yep.
We're working on some new music and recording some songs that have never gotten recorded and trying to get some stuff out there with the new lineup.
Right.
We got some videos and some board recordings that we're working on. We got some festivals that are booked, and then we got some festivals that are kind of in the works for later in the year, hopefully. So, what else do you have going on? I mean, obviously, I know you came down here and follow the Monarchs. We were talking to Mike last week. Obviously, it's hard to even do what we do with S.P.O.R.E, being 3 of them being down there, and then, how many live down there now? Yeah, 3 of them down there and 4 of us here.
Right.
That's already difficult, but luckily, S.P.O.R.'s established enough, and we book out far enough where we're kind of able to make those things work.
Right.
But I know you have your solo
we've been
stuff.
doing it a long time. Which makes it easier. Follow the Monarchs had only been together for a year.
Yeah.
Which makes, if you leave and then you're not coming and you're not steadily rehearsing or running over stuff, those songs tend to leave, your brain.
Oh, no,
quick.
for sure.
Whereas, some of those S.P.O.R.E songs, especially like some of the original ones, like, dude,
we've been playing them for a decade.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Hundreds, thousands of times.
right.
Which I gotta say, by the way, it was the first time I had seen y'all as a 7-piece.
Oh, last Friday with the Fritz.
Yes. So the last time I had saw y'all, it was literally just Steve, Joe, and y'all 2.
Right.
Yeah. The 4-piece, the OG.
So then to see, Mike added in, Jason added in, your other, I forget the new guy, Matt added in. Like, it's just like, this is huge.
Yeah, man.
Huge.
It's
I enjoyed the addition of of Jason a lot, and he was somebody that used to sit in with us
A lot.
pretty
Yeah.
regularly. If he
Yep.
was on the same festival lineup, with Greenhouse
he'd
back in
jump
the
on,
day
yeah.
or something, or Universal Green, he would jump on percussion, and that was always great addition. So it's nice to have him full time as well.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that with somebody at the show the other night. Somebody was asking Jason, how long have you been playing in S.P.O.R.E? And he's like, when did I start doing that? And I was like, bro, the first thing I remember is like you going out on that run with us to like Gainesville and Pensacola, and we played with the Nodis Warriors at what was that bar? It's shut down now in Gainesville. No, it was the other one.
Not High Dive. We played High
Mm-mm,
Dive.
it's not.
Sure.
I can't remember the name. We played out back.
I know, and now it escapes me. That was actually funny. I'm gonna tell a story about that day.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
I'm standing there talking to Chris and Jason, and the light guy shows up.
Yeah,
The light guy shows up, and he's talking to someone else, kind of about 8 feet away from us. And it's like, that laser puts out a lot of radiation. It's supposed to be like, 10 feet from any human or any living, because
yeah.
Chris and Jason look at the stage, and the laser is like right here above Chris's head, and Jason just calmly goes, "Whoa, what the fuck did you just say?" And the guy immediately starts retracting. He's like, "Oh no, everything, it'll be
It's all
fine.
safe. It's all
fine.
good."
It's fine. It's like, bro, I just heard you say that it emits a lot of radiation, and it's supposed to be like 8 to 10 feet from. And Chris and I just look back up at the stage.
It's
again,
like 12 inches above their head.
Dude, it's like right here.
It's like right there. He had put up like a lighting rig, like a lighting truss, and it was a few inches above my head. This main laser.
If it was emitting radiation, you were sucking it all in.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
The local?
No, I can't
I
remember,
don't
dude.
now. That was a very cool venue.
It was a cool venue, and but that was really like the first time I can remember him like going out with us for like an extended period of time, and then it just seemed like eventually we came to that point where it was like, if we can play and we can have Jason, we're going to,
right?
And obviously we've over the past few years since Jason and Mike have been introduced into the project full time, we've had a few shows we've had to play without like one of them or as the original
I think
four
that's
piece.
The beauty of it is that because the core is still there.
Yeah.
If we had to, not that we would want to, of course we would always want to bring the full production.
Yeah.
But if we absolutely had to, the 4-piece can still exist.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is still sick.
Yeah, it's still
amazing.
it's still a lot of fun. It's still the same songs. It's just there is a whole different level of like craziness that's added when you get to that whole 7 pieces.
Dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
it's huge. The sound is enormous.
It's crazy, and it has matured. I love how it's matured, especially in maybe even just the last year or two.
And it just keeps getting heavier.
Yeah,
I like.
It's getting heavier, and I also feel like where in the beginning we want S.P.O.R.E's always been like a rage band, right? Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like the concept. Is like we started a band,
or dance jams.
Yeah, we started a band where we want people to like go crazy, like want people to be like, oh man,
well, it's working.
Yeah. And I used to always say, I liked Zoogma, and I remember hearing Zoogma and being like, oh, I like this Jamtronica style sound, Sound Tribe, Zoogma, and I'm like, this is cool, and I'm like, it sounds like music you would hear when like Batman and Superman were fighting in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make that like that epic music that's just like, oh, here you go. And but what I've definitely noticed, especially for me in the last few years, is how where we used to go from like 0 to 60 in 30 seconds, now it's kind of 0 to 60 over like a minute and a half, and it leads a little more anticipation, and when that drop comes, it hits a little bit harder because it took a little bit longer to get there.
Right.
And that maturity of the band and the sound is probably one of my favorite things about it right now. And obviously having Matt and Mike and Jason really being great auxiliary musicians that know when to kind of lay back and fit the vibe, and then when to kind of help that build climax. Dude, it's unreal. It's my favorite version of S.P.O.R.E we've ever had,
Yep.
and it's awesome. But what else you got going on musically? You were telling me that you're working on some new stuff in the works, and then obviously I know you have your solo project, and I know you've been uploading music on that for the last year or so too. So
Right.
tell us a little bit more about what you got going on.
So the solo stuff, that's always been kind of a fun thing for me. I just enjoy sitting at home and tweaking snare sounds for hours.
Yeah.
And somehow they still sound like shit. But the snare is the hardest one.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
But so the solo stuff, that's kind of like my own personal enrichment thing. But then I've got this other project, Dope Sick, which is with Ben Dobson, who's the original singer for Yellow Card.
Mhm.
He and I basically produce. It's real weird, dark electronica.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool. And we're not looking to do any shows or anything with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We're actually more trying to reach like video game or soundtrack kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's just I don't know if there's an application for it because some of it's not danceable
Got it.
necessarily, and so the whole music scene doesn't work unless like people on the dance floor can move.
Yeah, for sure.
Live music.
For sure.
But it's like highly like complex intellectual electronic music, and it's very odd.
Okay.
Which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool concept. But then the other one, which is more of a live venture, is Sean Taunton and I. If you don't know,
Great
Sean
drummer.
Taunton, great
Yeah.
drummer. I actually went to La Villa and DA.
Okay.
Actually,
with
I
Sean.
went to Landon with Sean. He never went to La Villa, but I've known Sean a long time, and we've always wanted to try to get together musically, but just haven't really had the time.
Yeah.
Me moving back to Jack's, obviously S.P.O.R.E is not touring
Yeah.
extensively and gigging 4 nights a week like we used to.
Yep.
So that my time is opened up, and that's called Real Talk.
Sweet.
Which we got.
Into it.
Yeah.
Such
Yeah.
a cool name.
Yeah, it's a good
great
name. It's a good name.
We listened to R. Kelly's Real Talk about 30 times over the weekend. Over the weekend at Halloween, and everybody kept laughing and laughing. And when we came back from Halloween, I mentioned it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I think that's got to be the name."
Yeah.
And that's still highly conceptual right now. The music is still being written, and we need to figure out how exactly we are going to make it happen live.
Yeah.
The songs are there.
Yeah.
They just need to be now constructed into a live format.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun to watch that kind of grow and expand.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for it. Like I said, it sounds like 2022 is going to be busy for everyone, you included. And, I'm excited to see what happens with the bus. Obviously, S.P.O.R.E stuff, we're going to have a heck of a ride this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be looking out for all that. Well, we appreciate you coming and hanging out, talking to us for a little while.
Yeah, thanks for
And
having me.
now
Fun.
we're gonna move on into some other sections of the podcast. We're gonna have you hang out for a few minutes with us.
Okay.
All right. So we do this next section of the podcast. It's called Music News. All right, and it's just a time where we talk about some stuff that's going on in music and some stuff we got going on. And I'm just gonna go ahead right off the rip because we've been talking about it a lot.
Ooh.
And the lineup just got the initial lineup
is
was
just
just
one-
a drop.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a first
So
take,
let
I
me-
think.
Immediately
get-
see Alexis on Fire and Anti-Flag, and I am excited.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick, dude.
Ooh,
So-
Lagwagon too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now
so
you're
we.
pulling my 17-year-old heartstrings.
I'm telling
here,
you, bro.
dude.
So this is Furnace Fest. This is what we vended last year with Grind Time, and it was an incredible weekend. So everybody has been like super on edge with like who's going to be the initial lineup drop ever since they announced that they would be doing a second year on the Sunday of the festival. So everybody since September's kind of been like on the hook, like, yo, I want to go to Furnace Fest again. That was great, but who's going to play, right? So they finally dropped the lineup the other day, the initial lineup. So this is announcement one. Some incredible bands. I mean, y'all can see them here. Ghost Inside, who have not done a whole lot of shows since the accident with their drummer.
They did the one big sold out show in Vegas on the rooftop.
Guy lost his leg, right?
6,000 people that was there. Yes, so he lost his leg. So
What?
Still plays
by the-
drums.
So here's the thing.
How's
here's,
that work?
Here's how he does it, bro. So he lost his dominant leg, his right leg,
Mm-hmm.
right? So but it's a metal band. They're hardcore, you know what I mean? So double bass and everything. what they made for him was, because he didn't lose his entire leg, right? It's like right above the knee. They have this pad that sits on his throne for him, and it's connected to a cable to
Like
a
a remote.
So he's still moving his whole leg when he plays, but it just moves this pad that his leg is sitting on. So as his leg hits the pad, it hits the drum.
It engages a kick drum beater.
Yeah.
So
that sounds a lot maybe better to lose a leg than an arm.
yeah.
I mean, just to look at the bright side.
If you're a drummer, maybe. If you're a drummer, maybe.
I didn't think it would be possible.
It took a while of him practicing and everything, but he
I'm
doesn't.
sure.
When they played that one show that they've had since then, like I said, it was like in Vegas, I think. A rooftop show was like 6,000 people there or more.
Yeah.
And it crushed, bro.
Yeah, and they really haven't played
amazing.
much anything since. So them getting announced on Furnace Fest.
And which
that's
band is this?
The Ghost Inside,
Ghost
one of the
Inside,
other
okay.
headliners. Obviously, we got Newfound Glory and Alexis on Fire.
Amazing.
The great. We got Advent, the Acacia Strain, As Friends Rust, Bleeding Through.
Which has not been a band in a long time.
No, Elliot doing a reunion here. Lagwagon, Misery Signals, Mom Jeans, Quicksand, Shadows Fall, Wrist Meets Razor, Stretch Armstrong, Strike Anywhere. And this is just the first announcement. Kubla Khan. This is just the first announcement.
You got Integrity, which is very old school,
so there's
hardcore.
still more to be announced.
Dude,
on
this
this.
is
this
nothing
is
compared
just
to what's
like
coming, dude.
this is just like
Wow.
This is phenomenal.
This is the teaser. This is what makes everybody feel good because they bought the blind tickets.
This is something to hold people over.
Oh, I
Yeah.
would say if I bought blind tickets to this, I would be extremely excited.
Yeah,
Right.
because you know that there's another 60 bands getting added. This
Right.
is only the first 30.
Right.
So, I mean, it's going to be a crazy lineup, going to be an incredible year at Furnace Fest again, and we're excited to get back out there and do the damn thing. So,
What else you got?
I got Red Hot Chili Peppers with John Frusciante announced new album,
Oh, Joe's
Unlimited
excited.
Love. Joe's stoked out
Joe-
of his mind.
Joe, the biggest John Frusciante fan I've ever met.
Yeah. So obviously, Red Hot Chili Peppers and the lead signal, the whole LP is being produced by Rick Rubin. Yeah.
Wow, so they're back with Rick.
Yeah. So
That's
a big news here. April 1st, they'll return with their new album, Unlimited Love, spanning 17 tracks, produced by Rick Rubin, and marks the band's first release with John Frusciante since 2006.
Wow.
Wow.
16
So
What
crazy.
what was the last album they did?
Oh
was
man,
it
like
Scott-
Blood
was-
Sugar
was-
Sex
what-
Magic or something.
With
No,
John
was-
Frusciante?
Yeah, wasn't
Stadium Arcadium.
that was the? No, I thought the last.
I'm pretty positive it's
I thought it was the
Stadium
one that had
Arcadium.
scar tissue and all that. Californication. I thought.
No,
was
I'm
the
Oh
last
no,
one.
they
I'm
did
almost
that.
positive it was the
He was
double
on there.
disc
He was
Stadium Arcadium.
Frusciante. He like left and then he came back and then he left again. Right? I mean, like
Right.
I think in 2006 that was when that Can't Stop and all that. I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to get copywritten, but at the same time, that Can't Stop video, he was in that, and I remember that was like high school era, maybe middle school era for me. So, like I said, either way, incredible guitar player. Obviously, they've had their ups and downs, and I mean, what an incredible band from the get-go. I mean, Flea, Anthony Kiedis.
They're all amazing.
They're incredible, man, and really excited to see that they're getting kind of like that OG lineup back to put out some new music.
Dude,
You know what I'm saying?
I'll be the sword in the back per se here, but ever since like Californication, like I just can't get into it.
Well, so here's the thing.
Like I
Like,
can't Stadium Arcadium.
I was-
it's not.
There's
I
a
can't
couple
do all
great
that, bro.
songs on that
I
album,
can't do it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
I can't.
honestly not the biggest Red
For
Hot
me,
Chili Peppers fan
even
in general.
Californication, I was just like, nah. Blood Sugar Sex Magic was it for me. Like that was amazing. After
I
that,
agree.
they've never been as good since then, in
Well-
my opinion.
well, like I said, that is your opinion because obviously they exponentially grew since that album, and your opinion is wrong. So, but
That's what it's called an opinion for.
I
It
know,
can't be right or
It's
wrong.
immunity from being told you're wrong. I get it. But at the same time, obviously they've blown up, and I think what it is for me, for Red Hot Chili Peppers, a lot of what it's always been, dude, is Flea. He's such a big part of that band for me.
Oh, dude. Each member
Watching
makes
that dude
band who
play
they are.
bass is a pleasure. It's exciting to watch that guy play bass. And they all are incredible musicians. Never been like the most rotated on my like playlist,
No,
but
not
at
at
the same time, if I'm driving in the car and a Red Hot Chili Peppers song comes on the radio, I'm not going to always skip that. I'm going to check it out. You know, it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. And a lot of them I do know because they were so popular for so long. But, yeah, really cool that they're actually getting together with John Frusciante again. And April 1st, y'all can look out for a new album from them.
A lot of their songs are real fun, though. You know what
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean?
they're upbeat band, man, you know. Yeah. They do some,
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's
yeah, they,
so dope, dude.
like I said, they were one of those iconic 90s rock bands. You know what I'm saying? Like early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. Like, I mean, they were so huge, man. So, pretty cool.
Ooh,
This
what's
one,
this?
all right.
What is this?
And then now, what would y'all think right off rip? This is one
Donnie
heck of
Bagley?
a no.
Y'all know, okay, for a whole, y'all don't know. We have a friend named Donnie. That kind of does definitely look like Donnie.
It
Well,
looks
he just posted a thing
that
the
he
other
kind of
day
looks like Eminem.
that
Yeah.
said that Eminem stole his look. It was like a "Who Wore It Better" thing, and
Yeah.
I was kind of amazed. I was like, "Wow, you guys do kind of
Look very similar.
similar."
Yeah. There is the Slim Shady thing is gone. The buzzed bleached hair
Right.
is out, and Eminem. But
So we
this
got
this
Eminem,
right here.
Dolly Parton, and I can't see who is that.
Who you
the
think it
last
is, bro?
one?
Yeah, who is that?
I can't.
Eminem, Dolly Parton, A
Oh,
Tribe Called Quest,
Yeah.
and more nominated for the Rock and
I
Roll
thought you were
Hall
about
of
to tell me
Fame.
they all had a song together
right.
or something, dude.
No.
What?
So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced its nominees for the opening class of 2021 and the crop of 17 artists it is considering for induction this year truly covers the expanse of popular music. Just some of the artists on here: Beck, Pat Benatar, Kate Bush, Duran Duran, Eminem, Judas Priest, Dolly Parton, Rage Against the Machine, Lionel Richie, A Tribe Called Quest, and a bunch of others. So
you know, it always amazes me when these lists come out, because in my head I go, most of the time I say, how are some of those guys not in there already?
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
How are they not in
Well,
the Rock
dude,
and Roll
some of
Hall
these
of
other
Fame?
ones-
so
Bush.
Pat
So what's-
Benatar, how's she not in there already? How's
Right.
Judas Priest not in there already?
Yeah,
Like,
Judas Priest is even older. That's like 80s.
Yeah.
So,
dude.
and this is a part of it, okay? And this is, I'm glad you brought that up. So, this is actually the first year of eligibility for Eminem, okay? Because in order to become eligible for nomination, you have to have at least 25 years since releasing your first commercial recording.
Okay.
So, it has to be at least 25 years from
Okay,
that first
makes-
commercial
that makes
recording
sense.
comes out.
Stipulations, yeah.
That
So-
makes sense. Then.
So, Eminem's getting nominated, obviously, the first year that he's available to get
Doesn't
nominated.
necessarily mean he's gonna get
It doesn't necessarily mean he'll get inducted,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean,
but
it's also not rock and roll.
no, it's not.
It's just
It's funny how it's kind of like switched over, and it kind of just includes like all musical
music,
genres
right,
at this
right.
point, because that was always my first thought years ago, was like, that band's not rock and roll. How are they
Right.
getting inducted in the
And
Rock
they
and
can
Roll
be-
Hall
they
of
can
Fame?
Be great music. They just
Yeah.
don't belong in a rock.
Just
and
doesn't
roll
sound rock
Hall
and
of
roll to me. But
Right.
at the same time,
well, they have a hip hop hall of Fame or country music Hall of Fame.
because I think the reason they do it is to prevent that. You know what I'm saying? Like that everybody
Dividing the
knows about
music.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like if you have to make a different Hall of Fame for
Right.
every single
So
musical
It'd be
genre
crazy.
before you know it,
Yeah.
it's just
So then
ridiculous.
It might as well just be. It's like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the name of it, but it's really just the music.
the
Hall
Music
of
Hall of Fame.
Man,
Yeah,
that I
that-
understand.
it's kind of the way that
It's
I
misleading.
assume it. Yeah, it is misleading for sure. So, but like I said, I definitely think a lot of these artists
Out
deserve
of all of those,
to get in here. Eminem, I can't argue that at all. I think he deserves on a Hall of Fame list. Tribe Called Quest,
I
Dolly Parton. What?
So
That's
how-
amazing. She's not on
That
there
she's
yet.
Not on there yet.
Yeah, that kinda
that's
blows my
so
amazing.
out
mind.
of this group, right? Go up to the to the names there. So let me ask you all this: out of this group, okay, who would be y'all's? Let's just dial it down to top three. Who would be each one of y'all's top three?
Oh
on that?
man, I gotta
Rage
pick
Against
it.
the Machine, Beck, probably Judas Priest.
I was gonna say Eminem, probably A Tribe Called Quest, and Rage Against the Machine. That
See,
Dolly Parton would be like,
So Rage Against
A
the Machine,
very-
we're in agreement here. They
yeah,
should
Rage
definitely
Against the
be.
Machine should be
here's the
there.
three that I
That's a
would
thing
go
that
with,
should
right?
happen.
I would definitely choose probably Dolly Parton,
Yep.
Judas Priest,
Yep.
and Rage Against the Machine.
Well, then
so
there
I
you go.
think that but
I
so
think the odds of Rage
Rage
getting in
is
are very high.
very
Yeah,
high.
yeah. They deserve to be there, and like I said, we'll find out in May. We'll find out who get inducted in May. Until then, fan voting is open now through April 29th at rockhall.com.
I think
so
it's a
yeah,
little early
go
for
vote.
Eminem. I think it's not his year. But unfortunately,
he going, bro.
His fan.
No,
I'm not saying he won't go.
He going.
Yeah,
but
go.
this first year, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up music news, and that's going to bring us on into everyone's favorite section of the podcast. Food news.
Yeah, I like that.
Live and improvised every single time. Copyright me, YouTube. Yeah, it's food news. It's everybody's favorite section of the podcast, and I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start it off right here. My wife would be thrilled, and if either one of y'all are looking, this was a dream of mine as a kid. Oscar Mayer is now accepting Wienermobile driver applications through 2022.
Wow.
All right, so if you want to be the next Wienermobile driver,
hold on.
They need to rename that.
Look at these costumes. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, look.
That's what Jason wants with the Glizzy Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Trademark.
the hunt is on.
Definitely.
The job starts in June of 2022. All right, and a little bit about the job description. Okay. So the folks the folks at Oscar Mayer are looking for a new Wienermobile driver or hot dogger to escort 6 giant wieners across the nation. It's a pretty high honor considering the Wienermobile has been going cross country since 1936.
Oh my God.
According to Oscar
What do they pay?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. The position is not driving, though. The newest hot doggers to carry on the legacy will be spokespeople for Oscar Mayer for 1 year. This means public appearances, some time on the small screen, and radio/newspaper interviews. As a Wienermobile driver, you'll also receive a competitive salary on top of the sightseeing bonus. So in order to be qualified, they're looking for graduating college seniors who are wacky and creative, an interesting way to put it.
All of us are out of it.
I was going to say, the more intense qualification includes either a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts degree in one of the following fields. So, like I said, you're going to have like some college education to be the Wienermobile driver.
I could see Brianna being so upset if I became the hot dogger. She would be like, no.
See,
No.
I
you're
see
the Glizzy Gladiator.
I see this.
This is ridiculous. I love the vehicle.
Yeah.
Listen,
awesome.
Jason wants us to get one of these. So
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
run around and
And
hand
somebody
out
can
menus
walk
and-
around like Florida Theater on busy shows and pass out like free drink
I told you we're gonna
cards
put a
or
helmet
buy one.
on him and he's gonna be the Glizzy Gladiator.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I see. This is
I
Steph
would
would
love
love
to
this.
drive that thing,
Steph would
dude.
love this.
So are there bunks in the back of it?
I'm
I mean,
sure
it's
there's
gotta
something.
Be, dude. Look how huge
It's gotta
it is.
be. There's
But-
gotta be something.
But
back
my
there.
real question is like, I mean, so even if you're the Wiener, you're not actually going to be the Wienermobile driver for the first year. You're actually just like, like getting on a plane and you're like showing up in Salt Lake when the Wienermobile shows up in Salt Lake and talking about Oscar Mayer. But still, pretty cool job. You drive around and talk about hot dogs. Now, Oscar Mayer hot dogs, not the greatest to talk about.
That was my only concern is like, how y'all want me to get on camera and lie? Like there are so many better hot
Where's
dogs.
the Azar
than-
mobile?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. There are so many better hot dogs.
A
than
lot
Oscar
better ones.
Mayer.
So this one,
No offense, Oscar Mayer.
this
Yeah.
is a big hot take on the controversy here
what is
recently.
this?
I
What's
don't
going
know
on?
if y'all have caught this. Okay.
No.
So there's some viral articles going around sharing that the square footage on 2 medium pizzas is actually smaller than the square footage on 1 large. All right? And so what people are trying to figure out is when you
I think
buy
that
the
all
2
depends on
medium
what
pizzas,
the size of the pizza is.
when you buy the 2 medium pizzas at a discount, like at Domino's, part of the reason that I go to Domino's
You
is
get
because
the
I can do the 5-5-5
right,
thing.
right.
And I get a bunch of 2-topping medium pizzas, and then it's 2 or 3 pizzas, $15-$20, and I'm done. But what they're saying is that a lot of times that 2 medium pizzas at a discount is thrown at you because there's actually less
Less stuff.
food being used to make 2 mediums than there is 1 large. So they're actually cutting the cost while putting it to you as you're getting more pizza at a discount.
And I think that all depends on the pizza place because I've
there's
worked
a
at
map.
places where a medium dough is
How big?
is 8 ounces, and then a large dough is 12.
Okay,
So
so
this one right here.
this
yeah.
is saying that the standard medium pizza is usually in a 12-inch circle. That sounds right about right for like Domino's or anything like that. It looks about 12-inch. Large pizza has a 14-inch circle. It seems like you'd have nearly twice as much pizza for roughly the same price if you order 2 mediums. But then when you do the math, you end up finding out that you get more overall surface area of pizza with... Oh, this is saying you actually get it more with 2 12-inch mediums and 1 14-inch large.
We're arguing against
So
it.
here's
In
the
fact,
math.
we
So
were
to calculate the
we should've been
area of
arguing
one
for
large
it.
14-inch pizza, first find the radius. 14 inches divided by 2 is 7.
You're
Then
really going to read out all
7
this
yes,
math?
just
Okay.
real quick.
All right.
7 squared is 49. 49 times pi is 154 inches squared of pizza. To calculate the area of 2 mediums, 12-inch pizzas, first find the radius. 12 divided by 2, 6. Yep. 226 inches of pizza. There's no denying the numbers. The math proves that you get more overall surface area of pizza with 2 12-inch mediums.
Okay, so the math pretty much checks out unless it says if you're going into chains that have 16 inches or 18-inch large sizes. If you can order an 18-inch pizza for the prices of 2 mediums, that's actually going to be the better deal.
So I guess it's knowing how big they actually are.
It all depends on the pizza place.
Honestly,
At that point, because I know some of the smaller craft pizza places, a medium is going to be $15, whereas a large is only going to be 21 or 22,
So
and it is substantially
right when you
larger.
go to different from,
like New York style, massive.
5 stars, right? So 5 stars
I love
large.
their pizza.
Yeah,
or
it's good.
I'm sorry, Domino's is large is the size of 5 stars mediums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you got a large,
Exactly.
and they also sell extra large, and then even on top of that,
They sell that. You can barely fit it
And
in
that's
your door
because
pizza.
5 stars doing, is
yeah,
doing
Yeah.
like
what
Brooklyn
is
style.
it's
The Giant Zilla or something.
yeah, the Piezilla.
Yeah.
You remember Cabo's Island Pizza at the beach?
Yeah.
They had the 36-inch
Listen,
pie.
remember when we went to that place in Dunedin for my bachelor party, and that guy sold us on the frickin' giant pizza?
Yes.
How big was that thing? It was like
32.
it was like almost 3
32,
foot.
Yeah.
Me, him, and Joe got this giant like
You were
$80
telling me about
pizza.
it.
It was
Yeah, yeah.
What did
ridiculous.
we get? Like a Supreme?
Yeah,
like
it was
sausage, peppers, onions.
ridiculous.
What do they call it? Oh, they call it the That's What She Said.
Yeah. It was good. It was good.
That's what they call the pizza. And
So-
we were the first people to buy it.
The very first people to buy it.
People to buy it. And if you finish it with 2 people or less, obviously I don't know anybody that could do it alone. But if you finish it with 2 people, it's free.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Y'all
it's like
didn't finish it, did you?
$90.
Oh hell no, bro. I mean, we had pizza. There was pizza
$90?
Bro.
There was pizza the entire weekend on the stove. You know what I'm saying? Like the entire weekend.
For sure.
All right, another cool one that I'm really excited about: grilled cheese roll-ups. All right, that's the lunch
Talk to
everybody wants. What are you wiping your hands for grilled cheese right now?
So that's a thing, dude. I don't like grilled cheese.
What the fuck did
Why
you
are
just
y'all
say,
What the fuck?
bro?
I
Listen.
don't, dude. Like,
Listen.
What,
What do
were you
you
never a
not
child?
like? Yeah, what do you not like about bread and cheese and fat? And
crispy edges.
Here's the thing, though, dude.
Here's
Because
the thing.
Tell
I
me.
am such a sandwich connoisseur style person.
No,
right?
bro, you are like. Go ahead.
Okay.
Continue.
Connoisseur. The man's got
Connoisseur.
bologna and white bread.
I was
at
gonna
home.
say, yeah.
I can't.
He's
eat
an Oscar
bread.
Mayer fan. Go ahead.
No, man, it's Nathan's all day.
It's like even worse.
I like Nathan hot dogs. I like Nathan's hot dogs.
So I don't mind a grilled cheese as long as it's a grilled ham and cheese.
Oh no.
I'm
Listen,
okay
so
with that.
okay, but here's the thing.
I don't like just cheese and bread, dude.
I
can't
like-
do it. It's
I like-
It's I wouldn't say gross, but it's just not appealing. There's nothing
delicious.
great about it.
I like
Cool.
ham.
I don't like toast.
A little granulated
Oh,
garlic
bro.
on the crust.
Y'all both know this.
You
I
don't
do
like
not like
toast?
toast. When we went to breakfast, when we've had this conversation,
Oh,
I
yeah.
order plain bread. You and I have been to breakfast a million times.
Alan's
Every
a
time
serial
I
killer.
order
I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
I get just bread. They're like, "Would you like toast or biscuit?" I'm like, "I'll take the toast without the toast."
I'll have some dry white bread, please.
Yeah, exactly. The most
Extra
boring. Hey,
cup of water.
hey, I came in here and was wondering if you could give me the most completely boring shit on your entire menu. That's what I'd like for
Glass
breakfast.
of water, 2 pieces of white bread. Good to go.
Could
Or
you make
maybe
me
a
feel
bowl
like?
of sausage gravy to dip it in?
Could you please make me feel like I'm in a prison for the next 30 minutes?
This reminds me of the Blues Brothers.
I'll
where-
pay you
where
at the end and
the
tip
server's
well.
like, you want butter or jam? No, ma'am. Dry.
Yeah. So okay. So here's
Anyways,
my
I
thing.
just
Here's my thing.
I just had to get that out of the way.
I love grilled cheese, okay? And
Same.
I grew up just eating just the Kraft singles on 2 sheets of crappy white bread with a little bit of butter on the outside. And then I got into home ec in middle school, and the best thing my home ec teacher ever taught me was to not use butter for my grilled
Mayonnaise.
cheese, to use mayonnaise.
You did that to me at
Bro,
what festival was that?
I
Bear
don't
Creek
remember.
Or something?
Yeah.
Grilled mayonnaise.
Change your life, dude.
It was,
Change your life.
And I honestly hate mayonnaise.
So maybe I
But
need to
so
try
good.
that then
You
because
so
crust
good.
it up on the bread. It gives it almost like a tanginess.
It does, dude. It
There's
is.
a
It
tanginess
is
to it.
so
And
fire.
trust me, I hate mayonnaise.
Stephanie
so
does too.
for me to
I
try
love
that.
mayonnaise.
It did. It changed my life.
It's good. And
It is.
Maybe I'll
but
try it like
but
that.
one of my, I will say that, like, I'm not, I will make a grilled cheese, but as I've gotten later in life, I prefer not to have a grilled cheese unless I have soup to dip it in. So, like, I've become that
Brianna's
person
like that.
who's
See,
like,
that's better.
Yep.
I
That's
want the
better.
hot sandwich
Yeah.
with a bowl of soup,
Tomato soup.
tomato soup,
tomato bisque,
or dude, even just going to Panera and getting their grilled cheese and dipping it in the broccoli cheddar soup.
soup.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, dude,
I always
it's
get
on
the Caesar
point.
sandwich with that from Panera.
Oh, the Caesar.
I
They have a
haven't
Caesar
had
wrap and a Caesar sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Fire.
got like some sliced chicken breast with like some pepper on it.
Oh, if you got the
And-
wrap, especially if they cut it,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
that
good.
bias
They
cut
do.
on the
Yeah.
angle, then you could
They do.
scoop the cheese,
Yep.
Oh.
the broccoli cheese soup into the wrap with
Yeah,
each
it
bite.
sounds
That's
amazing.
Glorious.
Sounds
yeah.
incredible. And
I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Y'all
we
killing
got-
me.
yeah, I'm hungry too. I'm hungry too. But yeah, I mean, I do like this concept of like grilled cheese roll-ups. Okay, so like this is kind of like a grilled cheese taquito
Yeah,
with
I'm
some
into it.
with some sliced bread.
Southwest.
Y'all can go check this whole recipe out over on tasteofhome.com. But basically, you're gonna take the bread and you cut off the crusts and use a rolling pin, flatten it out, and then you stuff all
It's
your
too much
cheese in
work.
there and roll them up. Yeah, I'm sure it's
You know, I
delicious.
bet my daughter would like it though.
Oh, 100%.
You know.
Charlie would eat the mess out of
Oh,
it.
what if you did it so you give it a little thing with a little cup of the soup to
Oh, to dip it in. That's what I'm saying. When I
or,
saw
or
this,
you could even do marinara.
yeah,
Almost like,
oh yeah,
like cheese
yeah.
sticks.
When I saw this, my initial thought was, what a great thing to just dunk into my soup. Like
Right.
it's like breadsticks for my
That would
soup
be a
with
different
cheese
story
inside.
For me. Yes, I would probably do that if I had something to dip it in.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
just
could get
gr-
that.
I'm not eating just.
You're
grilled-
also like
grilled-
you're like a sauce fiend too.
I
You're
am,
like
dude.
a
My
sauce
fridge-
person.
My door, and when you open up my fridge, dude, all you click, 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 I mean, dude, it's like
He has nothing but condiments.
that's. I mean,
was
right
gonna
now
say,
there's a box.
There's
of
a pack
Mountain
of
Dew,
bologna
almost-
and every condiment you could ever imagine
Right.
that he puts on it. You know?
Literally, you open up my fridge right now. There's like almost nothing left of a gallon of milk, a bunch of Mountain Dews.
Well, at least you got your calcium in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and literally a mountain of sauces, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm almost an anti-sauce guy.
Listen, so
Believe
I
it or
like
not.
I
Like-
like
I can't not have.
I
condiments
do
with
like
sauces.
dry
Yeah.
bread.
so I like
the
sauce.
stuff that pulls almost like beef jerky
Mm-hmm.
that you got to chew on it.
Yep,
Or like
yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
And
So
you
do
want
I.
to talk about me being a
So do
serial
I.
killer? Are you
Listen.
Oh, we
serious?
already know I've killed people.
He's joking for everybody at home. Just joking.
No,
Definitely
I am a little weary on sauce. I'd say it all the time, dude. Like, I don't want a McDonald's portion of sauce on anything. Because, like, when I go through and order a McChicken sandwich and forget to say light mayo, and somebody is just,
dude,
like,
that's
taken
the worst.
a giant tablespoon of, like, mayonnaise
and they
and,
put it right in the
slopped
middle.
it in the middle.
Right
yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah, you're not even
And
spreading it
so-
on my
so
bread.
Your first bite, you're unaware.
Yeah.
Your second bite,
It's
and it's an
explosion of fat in your mouth.
Fried chicken
So-
on it
Yeah.
has turned it into liquid.
Yeah.
And so you bite, and it's like biting into the middle of a Bavarian cream
Yeah.
donut, but it's just hot mayonnaise.
Yeah,
That is
and
So
no, I don't like
here's
it.
where we differ because
That's the
I
worst.
absolutely
Alan, slop it up,
love
bro.
mayonnaise,
He's
bro.
slop
I
it up.
will
He wants it spilling out the
destroy
side of the
His
sandwich.
house-
I
his
want
house just
mayonnaise
smells
dripping
like
out the
mayonnaise
side.
and bad decisions.
I will devour that McChicken.
But now I'm okay with aiolis or mayolis.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
take a standard mayo and then you blend in some like garlic,
Cilantro
or
and some other
cilantro
stuff.
or-
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
dill or tarragon. Like a tarragon mayo is not bad. It's nice and savory, but just plain mayonnaise.
Nah, Duke's all day, bro.
Yeah,
Duke's
yeah.
all day.
So I will eat mayonnaise on like a turkey sandwich. Like I will.
In the
I'm
thinnest
a
amount
thin layer.
possible.
yes,
thin layer.
yes.
No,
I
I mean,
like
I-
spread it, and then there's like leftover on the knife that I have to scrape back into the mayonnaise container.
Right.
Because I just want there to be enough for like the bread to not be completely dry.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is
If it ain't
is that
oozing-
I think the whole origin of mayonnaise was when you pack your lunch in the morning, you don't eat it until 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Putting that oil barrier
Mm-hmm.
between all of your wet toppings and your bread keeps your bread from becoming a soggy mess.
It does.
Which
100%.
a thin layer of mayo can help immensely for that.
Yeah.
And I'll even put it on a sandwich if I know I'm not going to eat the sandwich for hours.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
definitely helps.
Yeah. No, it's great. So, grilled cheese roll-ups, I'm going to go ahead and vote a yes.
Alan's like, I'm going for the tablespoon. I vote yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a no.
Alan's going
yes
for
on
the, like,
mayonnaise.
rip the top off the mayonnaise container and dump
Spoon
it.
it.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, look,
He's just rubbing it on
I'll,
himself.
I'll get a lot of times if I get French fries and I'll go home and take on a whole separate bowl. I'll make my own fancy sauce. I'll mayonnaise, ketchup, mix it all together. Oh, dude, like just my mouth is watering right now because I was love some
It's
of that.
disgusting. It's so gross to
He
me.
uses it as tanning oil. He's like, bro, why do you smell like my turkey club?
I am your turkey club.
So last thing I have, and I had to go over to this because I knew Alan would probably be into this. All right, so we made a loaded Hidden Valley Ranch dip, and this recipe is an instant classic. Okay, so we're just gonna get into this real quick because
That looks
I
awesome,
am
aside from the scallions.
I am a firm believer. Okay, I like ranch dressing.
Oh, I hate ranch.
Oh
I
man,
love it.
that's
With
a
passion.
problem. Okay,
There's like 3
so
bottles in my fridge right now.
here's the thing. I like ranch dressing, but I will never buy a bottle of ranch dressing, okay? Because the ranch dressing that you buy in the store
It's crap.
is garbage.
If you make it at home, I'm
So-
if you
no,
take that Hidden Valley
Hidden
Ranch
Valley
packet
in the
and you
packet.
put some
cream.
mayonnaise and a little bit of sour cream
Sour
and some
cream.
milk
Yep.
and you mix it all together and make the
butterball.
real deal ranch,
Fire.
I agree.
so good.
That's what we used to do at the brewery.
Yep.
Was we made our ranch in house, and
Yep.
that ranch was actually, dude, I could dip fries in that, and it was delicious.
Yeah, that ranch
And
was
then you
good.
get,
and
like,
the blue cheese, bro.
Oh,
Oh,
the house made.
that's the only place I eat blue cheese at.
Dude,
It's the only place I
I-
eat blue cheese.
So
Gross.
I get blue cheese from Bay Street next door to Underbelly, and I love Bay Street's wings. They're great.
They're so good.
Dude,
Their wings are
blue
good.
Cheese is
I've
so
never got their blue
far.
cheese sauce.
It's bad.
I never got it. I'm always I do the hot and sweet Asian a lot. The like
The hot and
the
sweet Asian's
Thai
good.
Thai
The honey
the
barbecue's
lemon pepper
good.
rub is really good.
Lemon pepper rub is fantastic.
Yeah. So, but no,
I love chicken wings.
I'm a
So we are-
firm
a good ranch
believer.
is important.
I'm a firm believer that if you make good ranch, it's worth it. And this right here,
But they're using
all right,
cream cheese.
they're using some cream cheese. It
Interesting.
looks like they got a little bit of sour cream in here. Right?
Yep,
8 ounces of sour
sour
cream,
cream,
some
cheese.
cream cheese, buttermilk, ranch packet, cutting up some bacon, some cheese, adding some freshly grated Parmesan with some chives,
yeah.
parsley, and dill. All right?
I'd
and
love all that without the chives.
I've got to go ahead and say
I mean, it looks
it looks
It looks
amazing.
like a
Yeah,
load
it
of
looks phenomenal.
baked potato is what it looks like.
It looks
That
phenomenal.
Looks great. I would put that on a baked potato.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would absolutely tear this into a million pieces. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and wrap up food news, which is going to kind of bring us to the end of the podcast. Alex, man,
Thank you guys for having me out.
dude, it has
I
been
really
a
enjoyed it.
blast.
It's been a pleasure, man.
It has
Yeah.
been a pleasure. For those of y'all tuning in, make sure you check out the audio podcast the following Monday after this video goes up on YouTube. You can check it out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or really wherever else you get your podcasts. It's kind of everywhere right now. Yeah. So thank y'all for tuning in again. But for now, from the Grind Time Shop to wherever you are, we hope y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see y'all soon. Peace. We out.